What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Cornelia, back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. First of all, y'all, I want to give a shout out to the East Coast. Okay, shout out to the East Coast. I'm talking about all the way from up top, Maine, all the way down to whatever y'all consider the East Coast. Because y'all know sometimes people be talking about Virginia and them as the East Coast. Virginia is not the East Coast. It is not. People, I heard somebody say North Carolina was the East Coast. Child, that is the South, okay? Where bigotry resided and resides. But for the sake of this conversation, y'all can loop yourselves in if you want to, because I got love for the United States, the southern region. I say that because I went back east for one of my line sisters' weddings. Had a good old time. Okay, had a fantastic old time, but I really miss the East Coast. Like, there's a vibe. Each region and each area gives you a vibe. We know this, right? You can travel and you know this. It can be regional. It could be United States. It could be overseas. It could be different countries, because you can be in Europe and take the Eurostar from one country to another. And that's a 1 hour ride, child. You're going to get a whole different feel and a whole different language. Let's keep it a buck. But when I went back to the East Coast, I was reminded of what I really enjoyed about living out in that area, because I spent a little time after I graduated. I spent a little time in the DMV before I moved to New York. So that whole area and that whole experience that I had, it's a part of me, right? But being in California for so long, I've been out here for many, many, many years. I don't get to go back east very often. But when I do, especially as of lately in my older age, I'm telling y'all, I miss the East Coast. Hey, man. Hey, I might have one foot out the door. I'm just saying. And it was a couple things that stood out, right? One, it's a different look as far as aesthetically, homes, nature. It is a little more spacious, a little more luscious. Okay. While I was in certain areas, and I know everybody has this problem, I ain't see a lot of homeless people like I be seeing out here, because y'all, we have our homeless problem, our unhoused problem. It is bad. But also the main thing that stood out, it was nice seeing nice looking Black people just walking around in abundance. It was nice seeing just good old Black people. Now, there are Black people in LA County, but LA is so big and it is so spread out. And there's so many different pockets and cities within cities and towns within towns that in order to see Black people on a regular basis, you either got to live in South LA, which is Inglewood, South Central, then you going down South Bay a little further, or then inching over to Compton and Gardena. And let me tell you, while some of them areas still hood, it's still hood. Some of it's still the hood. Okay. It's still the hood. And while there are events that are specific to young Black professionals and Black people in entertainment, you really have to seek those out. And you have to go specifically or purposefully to those events versus I'm just going to run to the store. Oh, look, here goes some nice looking Black people. Because I started noticing this more and more this past year and a half, maybe 2 years. Whenever I'm out and about, I rarely see packs of Black people. I don't. And after a while, especially when I grew up in a Black city. While Flint was pretty diverse, right? It was split. It felt Black. We had a Black mayor. Like, it was a Black city. Then I went to a HBCU, Black experience. Then when I moved to New York, I lived in Flatbush. I lived in Harlem, Black. And while I came to LA, I was so engulfed in comedy and entertainment that I would find community in pockets where I would be around like-minded or relatable people, but I'm noticing that I have to make those efforts versus automatically or naturally being in those environments. And I miss that, and I'm starting to get a little over it. I'm a little tired of it. Okay. When I be going to the store, I even started to purposely be like, am I going to see some black people? I don't be seeing no black people sometimes. And so it's just, it's something that it's something I'm looking at. So when I was back on the East Coast, and I'm kind of losing my voice because I was yelling this past weekend, I was like, oh, this feels really nice. This feels really, really good. So shout out to the East Coast, to the DMV, New York, everybody. If you consider yourself East Coast for this particular conversation, I'll let you loop yourself in. And shout out to the Black News listeners that's over on that side. And again, shout out to LA people and people who don't necessarily have that experience, because I know that experience is unique to me because I've been talking to other people about it and they do not have the same experience as me. So I probably need to do a better job of seeking out those communities. But stay tuned. So let me know your thoughts, or just shout out to the East Coast in general. Let me know your thoughts about that. You can hit me up at Cornelia on social media. Child, it's going down in Congress. It's going down, basement. Okay, it's going down, young jock. Meet me in the trap. Literally meet me in the trap. Jasmine Crockett is out here having to go off on people in Congress. And by people, I mean Marjorie Taylor Greene, because as you all are aware, because you watch the news, Marjorie Taylor Greene be cutting up. She be in there cutting up. Like it ain't no, she literally like the United States government as it is today, y'all, I don't think it has ever been this publicly messy or full of, I take that back, because I do not doubt that during certain times in our history, when there were certain movements happening, that people within Congress, the Senate, our United States government was cutting up, because I can just see people feeling empowered to act certain ways. Back in right after enslavement during Reconstruction, when all of those black men ran for Congress and were appointed before Jim Crow really took over and Reconstruction ended, I know them people was cutting up. I know they was cutting up about it. I know when they were trying to pass the Civil Rights Act and all of the things, Brown versus Board of Education, everything that was happening in the 50s and 60s, I know them people was in there cutting up. They was probably saying the N-word on the floor. I know they was, because word on the street. Lyndon B. Johnson used to refer to the Civil Rights Bill behind closed doors as the N-word bill. And I'm saying N-word just to censor it. But he was referring to, allegedly, from what I read when I was doing my research, he was referring to that openly as the N-word bill, hard ER. But I say that to say, the most recent viral situation that has happened was between Jasmine Crockett and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Take a listen and then we'll talk about it.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order.
Mr. Chairman,
That's beneath
would
even
you
order.
please regain order of your committee?
Order.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Greene's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl? I don't think
we are gonna move, and we're gonna take your words down.
I second that motion.
So who will have to fail? Okay. Ms. Greene agrees to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
was apologized.
recognizes-
No. She
Perry,
was
okay,
apologized.
hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Greene
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then
Okay,
you're
reserve
not
the right
striking
to
your
object.
words.
I am
Mr.
not
Perry.
apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the
it's
minority.
pretty self-evident.
Chair you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
out of order.
You don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
Okay, move to strike
I'd like to strike those words
the lady's
as well.
words.
I would like to
Move to
order.
strike the lady's words again.
That's 2 requests to strike. That's 2 requests to strike.
Oh, they cannot take the words.
There's another motion.
I'm going to pause right there. That was AOC chiming in with the baby girl before we get to Jasmine. Even AOC was fed up and sick of it, okay, to the point where she had to chime in with the baby girl. Okay, we're going to continue on.
Strike her words again. Please.
All right.
Get
Okay.
your members under
Here's the
control.
correct priority. Ms. Green, do you agree to unanimous consent to strike your words?
I repeat again for the second time. Yes, I'll
All
strike
right.
my words,
That-
but I'm not
all right.
apologizing.
Without objection.
Not apologizing.
21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Who's
It's me.
Ms. Crockett?
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
Chairman,
I'm
I
trying
make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
I'm
parliament.
trying to find clarification on what qualifies.
Chairman, motion to strike
I had no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
You just voted to do
Y'all did
it.
it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted
it.
to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get
Okay.
clarification.
Look at calm down.
No, because this
I
is
would
what
like to
y'all
get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying to
Hey,
get
Ms.
clarification.
Crockett, you're not
Y'all wanna
recognized.
play
Ms.
games.
I
Crockett.
can't hear you with your
And you
yelling.
don't want me
Calm
to
down.
Be, no,
Can you please calm
don't
down?
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can we
come and
send
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a
Mr.
problem.
Chairman, Mr.
Order.
Chairman.
All right,
Sorry.
Chair.
I don't know why
Okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
I'd like to know if any of the Democrats.
There's so much within that to unpack. First of all, I'm gonna start from the back and go in reverse. We all know, and by we I mean especially Black women, we have been in situations and scenarios where somebody will purposely say something to attack you, or they will say something shady or sly, and then when you start to get animated or passionate about what it is that you are saying in response, they use words like aggressive and you need to calm down and are you okay? They use those dog whistles or that coded language in order to paint you as someone who is behaving badly or poorly or inappropriately in that moment, even though they were the ones who triggered that behavior in the first place, and even though you ain't being aggressive. So to see it on display, it's affirming that, oh, everybody experiences this. Oh, okay, got it. Another thing, I don't think that most of the people in that room have ever heard the term bad built in their life. That is deep cut black. That's black deep cut right there. To call somebody bad built. And I'm willing to bet you, because the term that Jasmine Crockett used was bleach blonde, bad built, butch body. I'm willing to bet you out of that whole term, that bad built, that hurt Marjorie. I know it did. Because one thing women be caring about, whether we want to act like it or not, we care about our bodies, how we look. We all got our insecurities. Some women may be to the point where they don't care. More power to you. Okay. But even at my best, I cared about how I looked, my body, how am I in shape, all of that. Even at my worst, at my biggest, I still care. I'm willing to bet you that bad bill cut her deep, honey. I know it did. But the fact that Jasmine Crockett got that tongue twister out in real time tells me that sis is on point. 1, 2, she was ready. And 3, she took her opportunity to clock it. Okay? Clock it. But lastly, I appreciate now, and some people are saying they don't like this. I actually don't mind it. Jasmine Crockett is now making merchandise with that phrase on it, and she's selling it, and the proceeds are going to I believe, the Democratic Party or helping with elections. I forget the exact cause, but she turned the situation into something that she's making a profit. The reason why I like it is, one, y'all not going to keep talking, popping off at people and thinking y'all just going to get away with it. Viral moment ain't enough. Sometimes you got to take it to the streets, even though you are a member of Congress. At this point, all bets are off. We do not have a traditional government system anymore. But also, and I don't know if I've said this on Black News maybe a long time ago, Democrats seem to have a problem knowing how to play the game and knowing how to fight like the other side. Because one thing Republicans been doing, they know how to fight dirty and they know how to go after and get what they want the way they want it. And on the Democratic side, people still trying to act like this 1996, 97, 98, 2000 when Al Gore was running, where you got to be by the book and you have to be the party of going high and all of that. Those days are over. You can't bring a knife to a gunfight. And while it is sometimes not okay to meet people where they are, sometimes if you don't know how to squabble, you need to put somebody out there that do. Otherwise, you're going to get beat up. And honestly, I appreciate that Jasmine Crockett is one of the members of the Democratic Congress who knows how to fight and who knows how to stand up for herself and can play that petty game just like they can. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And she doing her job, because outside of this moment, she is one of the only people, especially women of color, who consistently speaks up, challenges people, and says what it is that we want to say, and then speaks our language as far as telling us what is going on in the political space and translating it back so people can understand it. So I appreciate her and shout out to her. But what did y'all think about the overall ordeal? Because y'all that had me crying laughing. Okay, let me know your thoughts. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. And you can also hit me up and let me know if you're going to buy the t-shirt or the merchandise. Hit me up. Another moment and situation that went viral this past week was in regards to a man getting on social media and posting a video saying that he beat up his daughter's bully's father because the girl would not stop bullying his child. And the internet had a lot to say, and it was pretty split in the conversation. So I'm going to play the video in case you all do not know what I'm talking about. Then have a discussion about thoughts, where I stand on it, what I think, and a call out to get you all's opinion. So let me play the video and then we'll get into it.
I'm sorry. I know a 7-year-old girl who had to watch me and my brothers jump her daddy after school. I'm sorry. I know that was probably a traumatizing experience for you. But we kept asking you to stop bullying my daughter and you wouldn't listen. We sent letters home. We even had a meeting with you and your parents and you wouldn't listen. So now you know your actions have consequences. And since you're too young to receive those consequences, you had to watch your daddy take those consequences. Get some therapy. You'll be all right. A lot of y'all keep asking why I didn't fight this man one-on-one. And why I got my brothers to jump him in front of his 7-year-old daughter. And the answer is simple. Life is not fair. You get jumped by responsibilities every day. Bullying is not fair because you're picking on somebody that's essentially a weaker vessel and that's smaller than you. So I wanted to make sure she saw what it looked like when a fight is not fair and you don't have no choice but to let somebody jump you. So she could get the concept of what she was doing. Sometimes kids learn from what they see and not what they hear. So I wanted it to be a visual experience, okay? I'm out here doing the Lord's work, okay? God is pleased with me whether or not y'all are.
Y'all, I don't know how to listen. Let me first say this. I cannot imagine what it's like to see my daddy getting beat up. My daddy ain't a fighter. And we ain't getting no real squabbles like that to the point where he had to come up to somewhere and fight. Like, we wasn't doing all that. So I cannot imagine what that child thought or was going through, seeing her daddy get them paws put on him. Two, I hope this brother who was on here is okay, because I'm from a city and I'm from a generation and I'm from a place where I remember what retaliation looks like. And while in a perfect world, people would fight and just move on with their lives, I've also seen firsthand where somebody will come back and it will go down, and then somebody would end up no longer being with us or seriously harmed. So I hope that that man is still okay. Okay. Now, I don't know how I would have handled this, because if you listen to the video, the man said that they tried many different ways to resolve the bullying. They went up to the school, they wrote letters, they even had a meeting with the kid's parent to talk about the bullying that is happening to his daughter. Nothing happened. So the end result he felt like was he needed to take matters in his own hands and beat up the daddy, since the little girl was not empowered to stop. And not just beat him up, they jumped him. Him and his brothers jumped the girl daddy. Now, because I have kids, I don't know what those conversations are like, right? I imagine that if I had a child and I got the call that said my kid was bullying some other kid to the point where I had to go up to the school, I would hope that I had enough influence over my kid and a good relationship with them to be able to guide them in a direction, and to inform them and teach them that under no circumstances is bullying some kid the right thing to do, especially in this current generation and time and place where kids are committing suicide based on bullying. That is a thing. So I can assume and hope that I would do certain things, but I do not know what I would do if I had a kid who was bullying. I had all the conversations with them and they did not stop. We also don't know if the parents were active participants in encouraging the bullying or trying to get the kid to stop, because let's keep it a buck. Some parents think it's cute if their kid be at school acting crazy. Some parents also think it's okay to ignore certain things that are happening as if the school's supposed to deal with it. Like they at school, you need to deal with it. Some kids don't be talking to their children. Some parents don't be talking to their children. So we don't know what was said between the bully and the bully's parents. But I can imagine being a parent of the child that's being bullied and having done all of these things, and my kid is still being mistreated, and me not wanting to risk that my child being depressed or it taking a toll on them to the point where they unalive themselves as well. I can't imagine what that feeling is like. So on both ends of this, hey, I see the perspective. I see the brother's perspective. Do I think it's the best way to handle it? I don't know. I would say have a clear no to the answer. Do I think it's the best way to handle it? If he would not have had all of the conversations with everybody. He went up to the school. He talked to the parents. All of this stuff. Wrote a letter. If he wouldn't have done all those things, it would have been a clear cut no. But because he did all those things and the bullying didn't stop and the school didn't do nothing either, then hey, I don't know. Because another thing that I would assume, and I guess this just don't happen, kick the kid out of school. If you bullying and you've been instructed to stop and you don't, you suspended. You take a couple of days. First you get detention, you don't stop, you suspended for 3 days. You don't quit. We can't have bullies in our school, boo-boo. You got to go. But I don't think school districts can do that anymore. So I digress. But I'm on the fence with how I understand what he did. And I understand people who think it's bad. What y'all think though? Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about this. Do you agree with his action of going up to the school or wherever he went and jumping the bully's daddy in front of the bully? Let me know your thoughts. And did he let his daughter watch? I don't know. I got so many questions. Let me know your thoughts, though. You can hit me up. I'm at Cornelia on social media. So I purposely kept this topic for last because, one, it is very triggering for me and is very triggering for y'all, I'm assuming. It is just... honestly, I don't want to talk about it, but I am because I want to provide the space and the dialogue to address it. But because it's so disturbing, it just don't sit well with me at all. And not because of the other person, the attacker, but because of the victim. And this is regards to the video that was released that CNN obtained that showed Cassie being beaten up in the hotel. I won't even call it a lobby. It was on one of the floors by Sean Combs. So going back a little bit, Cassie, when the deposition or the documents were released in November, which outlined all of the things that she experienced over the years, very deep. Again, if you have not read that, read it. It will offer you some very clear insight about everything that she is experiencing. And it also is a good point of reference in this case, and also in case other things start to come out. Because when I saw the video, which I did not want to watch, but I felt like I needed to watch it. Let me just watch it to see what it is. And in the video, she was leaving a hotel room, trying to get on the elevator, bent over, looked like she was trying to put her shoes on or getting something out of her bag. And then the attacker ran up with a bath towel on out of the room, down the hallway, around the corner to where she was at the elevator, and starts to hit her, kick her, drag her by her hair or her head, attacking her. He then sits down, throws something at her. And then the video, I believe it stopped at this point. And again, we read this in the document that was released back at the end of 2023. So the dots were connected. We also read in that document that Sean Combs bought allegedly. Okay, we're going to say allegedly, that he allegedly bought the video footage from that hotel and kept it. So the question about how was the footage released, we do not know. I do not know. I don't want to speculate. I don't think anybody has had an exact answer for that. But the footage has been found and released. I believe it was from 2016. So with that, it hit the streets. People who were accusing Cassie of lying or saying it was a money grab started to give out these half-ass apologies, which they could keep. Honestly, they could keep it, because there's nothing you can say that could lend to the attempt to discredit her initially. And that woman has been through enough to the point where you should probably just leave her alone. If you ain't supportive, just shut your mouth. Just be quiet. But it sparked lots of conversation and backlash, of course. People speaking out, denouncing their acquaintances and praying for Cassie. Some people praying for Puff. He also released an apology video where he mentioned how he was in a bad place and he went to therapy and to rehab and did all of these things, and he is sorry. The internet also pulled up the receipts because if y'all remember, after the lawsuit was settled, there was a statement posted that said, I did not do anything that I'm accused of. I didn't do anything. I will clear my name, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward to now, and you actually did do those things, allegedly. So it is just this is awful. And I feel so bad for Cassie because the internet, while you can actively stay off the internet, and if you have the resources and you are in a public position, like a performer, even though she don't perform no more, Cassie, You can have somebody running your social media, so you really don't got to be on there. But social media has become a really bad, nasty place. If you look at some of the comments, people be saying some of the most egregious and terrible things. So I can't imagine her having to do all of the work that she's done to overcome that. The girl even wrote in the document that was released that she had to work to overcome an addiction that she left that relationship with due to being forced to do drugs. So having to overcome that, she has to nurture her current relationship and her current marriage with Alex Fine. She got to raise 2 kids. Then she got to hear y'all nasty ass comments about what she didn't do, what she should have done and shouldn't have done. I feel so bad for Cassie. I feel so bad. And I don't know what we as the public could say or do to express that enough to her. But child, I do not like seeing women down and getting beat on. Like I do not like that. I don't like it. So what's next? We do not know. We are literally watching all of this play out in real time. The Los Angeles district attorney even had to make a statement because people were tagging them and saying, why don't y'all do something about it? This is the statement from the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. They said, we are aware of the video that has been circulating online allegedly depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman in Los Angeles. We find the images extremely disturbing and difficult to watch. If the conduct depicted occurred in 2016, unfortunately, we would be unable to charge as the conduct would have occurred beyond the timeline where a crime of assault can be prosecuted. As of today, law enforcement has not presented a case related to the attack depicted in the video against Mr. Combs, but we encourage anyone who has been a victim or witness to a crime to report it to law enforcement or reach out to our office for support from our Bureau of Victims Services. Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, May 17th, 2024. They basically said, y'all can stop tagging us. We can't do nothing. And I'm wondering, whoever released that video, was it released because they know that nothing can happen, but that doesn't negate from the ability to sway the court of public opinion? I'm wondering if that was the angle. I'm also wondering, will anyone at the hotel, they said the hotel is closed. I think they said it was the Intercontinental Hotel. I'm wondering if someone at the hotel, if they actually were paid money to give away or to give up that footage, will they be held liable? Child, it's so many questions and I do not know. I am not a legal expert, but I am also standing in support of Cassie Ventura Fine. Child, girl, prayers to you. And I hope that there is a way for you to find peace in this moment, in these tumultuous times, because girl, I know it's hard. Girl, people be, oh my God, people crazy. They just be saying some crazy stuff to people. Ugh. But anyway, what do you all think? What are your thoughts about this? Did you see the video? Did you choose not to watch? Let me know. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. On this episode of Black News, we talked about Jasmine Crockett versus Marjorie Taylor Greene and it being Clapback City in the United States Congress. We also talked about the viral video that made its way around in regards to the man beating up the father of his daughter's school bully. And we also gave an update in regards to the video that was leaked this past week that showed Cassie Ventura being attacked at a Los Angeles hotel in 2016. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Cornelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is cornelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.